Alright, today let's take a look at Monster. At least that's what it says on the title screen. Actually, the original title was Beneath the Darkness, and it was supposed to be a variation of Creature from the Black Lagoon. And it was also called Humanoids from the Deep. I like the title Monster that appears on the title screen the most because I think that's the one that fits the movie the best. This is a guy movie. It's filled with monsters, tits, and explosions. Wow, I didn't know a Molotov cocktail could destroy a whole fucking building. What an explosion. Make sure you get it from every angle. Filmmakers always gotta get their money's worth, don't they? It was directed by Barbara Peters, but Roger Corman was the film's uncredited executive producer. The original cut of the movie was fairly tame. The studio felt it was sorely lacking in content that would interest the film's target audience, so they brought in a second director to add a bunch of scenes with nudity and gore. And fittingly, he was the same guy that directed Deathstalker. If you want a good rape scene, you gotta go to the Deathstalker guy. I mean, come on. When Roger Corman saw the original cut, he was unsatisfied at how the monster-on-girl sex scenes were done. They were shot in shadow and didn't really get across what he wanted. Roger Corman wanted those friggin' monsters to be fucking the women hardcore in plain sight. Roger Corman wants his damn monster sex scenes. It stars Doug McClure and Vic Morrow. I wonder if he was related to Jeff Morrow from The Giant Claw.
Flying battleship.
Actually, in all seriousness, you've probably heard of Vic Morrow. He was the actor who was tragically killed on the set of Twilight Zone the movie. The plot revolves around a salmon cannery called Canco.
From Canco Incorporated.
Wow, there's a creative company name. Let's see, they can things there. Canco. Perfect. A big corporation promises the townspeople more jobs and is trying to get them on board to build a new factory by throwing a bunch of parties. There's a character named Johnny Eagle, and he's opposed to this new company because the salmon are already endangered as it is. So he gets into a few fights with the owners, the townspeople start finding dead dogs all over the place, and they blame Johnny. They wrongfully accuse him just because they don't like him. The movie is very cliched, and it's filled with many false scares. And then there's also the scene with the girl Peggy, and she sees something moving around outside. She grabs a knife and tries to sneak up on it, and out of nowhere pops her boyfriend to scare her. What a jerk. And after he scares her, she forgets that there was something lurking around outside in the first place, which is what makes this scene really unrealistic. Eventually, all the monsters start to show up, finally, and they look ridiculous. They're almost as silly as that monster from Creature from the Haunted Sea, which happens to have been directed by Roger Corman. He sure does love his seaweed monsters, doesn't he? In all fairness, the monster costume is pretty cool. It's well crafted, but it just looks silly. The monster effects were done by Rob Bottin. He also did effects for The Howling and John Carpenter's remake of The Thing. So, where did these monsters come from, anyway? The explanation that they give is this new company that's in town are trying to enlarge the salmon by messing around with the DNA, but somehow the materials were dumped into the ocean, which spawn a bunch of mutant monsters. That's what the doctor here says, anyway. She should know, after all, because she's not just any scientist, she's a professional scientist.
I'm going with you, Jim.
I don't need anybody else.
Oh, get off your antique manners, Hill. I'm a professional scientist.
And in this scene here, this dude's girlfriend wants to have sex with him, but meanwhile, he's talking to her with a ventriloquist dummy.
Come on, show me more than the head.
Well, the head's the best part.
That always gets the ladies.
Hey, honey, want to see my woodpecker?
As if that's not stupid enough, then the monsters break in, kill the guy, and rape the girl. I'm used to monsters killing people, but not very often does a monster rape anyone. There was the scene in Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde with Frederick March, which was sincerely disturbing, but here the monsters are so goofy looking. They're like giant walking piles of spinach. How can anybody not laugh at the thought of these things going around raping people? They're absurd. Then what happens? Well, a monster smashes a guy's head into a dock over and over, and then another monster gets in a truck with some girl, the truck goes off a bridge and explodes. These fuckers are creating all kinds of chaos. It's all a build-up to the end where the monsters go on an all-out rampage. The humans shoot the monsters try to rape the women, people's heads get ripped off, chests are ripped open. It's everything you want to see from a stupid monster flick, and then some.
Damn to hell!
It's funny that it seems like there's an army of these monsters going around killing people, right? But when they were filming, they actually only had 3 monster suits. They pulled off making it seem like there was a bunch of them pretty well. After the big rampage in the amusement park with the monsters, there's a real serious scene showing the aftermath of the attack, and the damage that's been done. Are we really supposed to be emotionally moved by this? We just watched seaweed monsters tearing shit up for 15 minutes. It's like a real downer, but the movie redeems itself in the end. So the monsters went around having sex with women the whole movie. Obviously it had to happen. A woman gives birth to one of their offspring in a disgusting, bloody eruption from her stomach. Now that's how you end a movie. Well, it may be stupid, but it's entertaining as hell. It's a good old-fashioned, blood-soaked, booby-filled seaweed monster fun. Check it out.